Hi, my angels and devils. Georgia gave me two questions which I thought I would answer in a single video because they were really interesting questions and I hope you're interested in the answers. She asked me, one, how I got into crafting, and two, what my favourite things to craft are. Now, the first answer is a simple one. The second one is not so easy. I got into crafting. I couldn't even tell you how I got into crafting. Sorry, itchy nose. I started crafting as a child. I've always crafted. It's always been a part of who I am. My first sort of crafting memory as a kid is being at my grandma's or my Nana Bonnie's and trying to make a pirate hat out of cardboard and blue cellophane, and it not working and tipping it upside down and realizing that it would make a good cradle for a doll. So that is one of my earliest crafting fail memories. And I used to teach craft to people with mental illness, like me. And one of the things that is really important to remember in crafting is there's very rarely a true fail, something that you cannot salvage, repaint, redecorate, or do something with. And there's no mistake, especially in scrapbooking and stuff, that you can't cover with an embellishment or some bling. So I've crafted a lot. The first craft class I took, other than art and craft, in primary school, I was very blessed in primary school. We had this amazing teacher, Mr. Sharadia, and I think I have my love of art and craft. I really have him to thank for that because he fostered that in us from a young age. I was lucky enough to have him as my year 3 teacher. Unfortunately, he spent half the year on his long service leave, so we didn't kind of have him for the whole year, but it was the time I had with him in the classroom. I still have memories from that of writing rhyming songs and us all getting these letters with this vitamin in it, like lolly vitamin thing, from this puppet Rolf, and he would play guitar and sing, and it was a very magical classroom. This is someone who is definitely very passionate about teaching and who I feel very honoured to have had as a teacher growing up. Um, he taught me a lot, but also once his year with us was done, there had been a project to turn one of the old sort of storage rooms into an art room. And so we got art once or twice a week. We got to go to the art room and hang out with Mr. Stridia. Now, I remember I would go and spend my lunch breaks in the art room. I would clean paint. I would clean the tables. I would put stuff away. I loved I just loved the energy of being in that creative environment so much. It didn't matter to me if it wasn't something creative, although sometimes you got to help on creative stuff too. There was a huge mural for anyone who has ever been to St. Joseph's Moorbank. I don't know if it's still on the wall, but it was the last time I went there some years ago. I helped paint the sunset, the background of that mural. So for me to see it up and finished was amazing because it had been such a long process. It had been such a big part of my childhood, really. I think I got to see it when we went back for our 10-year primary school reunion. So that's quite a long time ago. I would have been about 17, 18 at the time that reunion was. So yeah. Um, so he was someone who really fostered art in me, which is a very different feeling to my high school experience with art and craft. Before I went away to boarding school, Mum and I did cottage craft together, which was all the rage. If you've ever seen country kitsch or country things where the tissue boxes are covered in fabric and there's a bit of padding at the top, or the albums with the fabric and the lace around them, just lots of decorative objects covered in fabric and wadding, really. But I learnt a lot doing that, and I did some of that for one of my projects for math. One time we had to pick a project, and I did shapes, and I actually bought cardboard shapes and cottage craft them. I even at camps and stuff, I always gravitated to crafty activities. I always thought I would grow up and be an actress, so that was always, for the first 20 years of my life, that was my whole plan. but the crafty stuff has always been there in the background and it had always been a part of my life. Um, so it was just something that I kind of had before crafty stuff was a lot more available. I used to go and paint plaster statues in a place in Yaguna that doesn't exist anymore, sadly. I spent a lot of time between about 18 and 20 painting at Bella's and painting plaster statues of wizards and oh my gosh, all sorts of things. But the wizards always drew me in. Wizards and mythic, like dragons and things like that, really drew me in. I don't even have any of them anymore. Just in moves and various incidences, they've all sort of vanished. And then I got into. I'd always wanted to make an artist original bear, like to make my own teddy bear. And I got into teddy bear making. I made my first bear and I was hooked. It's one of those things you either make one and you're like, okay, I've done that now, but very rarely does that happen. You kind of go down the rabbit hole. And I was very lucky to join a teddy bear making group on Yahoo that I don't even think exists anymore. And I was encouraged to try creating my own pattern. So I only ever made one full bear, or I think it was like one and a half full bears from patterns before I actually sat down and drew my first bear, which is my Eloise bear. And I kind of retired her pattern, but I may bring her out and make some more Eloises soon. I have stuff here to make bears again. I just haven't, I'm trying to get the process of my life, everything moves a lot slower than I'd like it to, but I'm trying to get on top of everything so I have that space and that mental energy and the physical energy to actually create. And bears are really high on the list because I love making bears and I haven't made one in so long. So I sort of stumbled into bear making, and then I did a couple of bear shows, and especially at Stitches and Craft, and the person I was with at the time would go and get you got this free bag of goodies from 3M. So he would go down and he grabbed a couple of those for me and for my sister. And it had a few scrapbooking things in it, but it wasn't until I started dating someone who scrapbooked. And I thought, oh, my sister had gotten into card making and scrapbooking. I thought, oh, I should try that. And it takes a long time to, it's much better now to build up a stash because you can literally go to Spotlight, grab a Kaiser paper pad, grab a couple of the embellishment packs that go with it, and you're set to go. Whereas before, it was a lot more expensive and it was a lot harder to do stuff. And you can go to the reject shop and get stuff. You can go to your cheapy shops now and get stuff. Whereas when I started, that wasn't really an option. Yeah, so I started scrapbooking and he got pissed off because I was better at it than him. However, he started in the very early days of scrapbooking where it was a piece of pattern paper or a coloured piece of paper and a few stickers. And he never quite evolved from there. So it's kind of that trade-off, really. I'm very fly by the seat of my pants when I create. I don't often watch a lot of tutorials and stuff, although I have done a few online card classes and I really enjoy that because I learn stuff, but I have to do it as well. And often I will still change up the techniques, or there are some techniques that I may never master. I need to go back and revisit the watercolor card class from the start of the year because now I have more of the right stuff to use and I would like to see if I can get the flower techniques. My sister is amazing at watercolors. She is so good with the techniques from this class and for doing her own watercolor stuff, and she's a really talented card maker. I don't consider myself a card maker, although I know by any standards now I am a competent card maker. I am a good card maker at times. Sometimes I make cards that astound myself, but I always consider my sister more the card maker because that's been her thing for a lot longer. I'm more of what you call an off-the-page scrapper. I don't do a lot of layouts and stuff, although I would like to do a few more than I have. I haven't done a layout in a very long time. I'm more of a mini album, friendship albums, MDF, TARDIS sleighs, altering weird and wonderful objects, because actually my craft tutorial for the moment, if I actually get a way of doing it, is going to be an altered balloonicorn. So I'm very much, I go to a secondhand shop and I look at things and I think, oh, what could I do with that? And I have a whole heap of projects here now because I wanted to build up a good stash of things so that if I didn't go anywhere for a while, or if I had no money and I couldn't spend any money on craft supplies, I had zero money to spend, would still have, I'd still be able to create, and I'd be able to create a lot of amazing things. So for me, I like learning new techniques. I've really loved, I only got about halfway through it last year, but I did download all the lessons. Lifebook 2015 taught me a lot. Um, I love learning, and often I learn best, rather, like I can watch stuff, but when I do a tutorial or something, when I watch a tutorial, I'll watch it, I'll read it, I will walk away and I will not look at it again unless it's something really involved where I need to go step by step on a scoreboard or something. I really don't. I tend to just watch the technique, walk away, and do what I remember, which often means I leave out steps or do something really differently to how we were taught to do it. Sometimes it's good results, sometimes it's not so great results. It really, really just depends on the day. I love that. I love that I learn every time I'm crafting. I love that I get to play, because for me, crafting is, it's not, it's the air that I breathe, being creative. I've always, even as a teenager, written poetry and stories and songs, and I still occasionally do, but poetry doesn't come as often, probably because I don't exercise that muscle as much as I used to. Um, I love the fact that I can just go, I have an idea. Often I haven't, the worst part is I have this amazing stash, and often I will have an idea and not have the stuff to pull it off. Which is really horrible to say, but I love it. As much as I get impatient to do something new, I really love eBay for that reason, because I can bid on stuff and get stuff really cheap, which really does help at times, especially when you've got no budget. I miss having a budget for craft stuff. Uh, yeah, so it is really, really sort of, it feeds my soul. It makes me happy. It helps me in the darkest of times. Sometimes I'll just pull out some MDF, like an MDF mini album or something, and just gesso it or just paint it. And just the act of painting it just stills my mind, and it relaxes me, and it gets rid of the anxiety and the agitation. There is something about being in the moment when you craft and when you create that kind of transforms you elsewhere. You can listen to music, watch movies, watch TV. You can craft in silence if that's your thing, but for me, I tend to watch TV while I craft, or watch movies, and or listen to music. Like, it just really depends, but I have that option, and I love having that option. It helps a lot. Like, crafting is sort of the thing that I do a lot of. The problem is I have an Etsy store and not a lot of stuff sells, so I end up with this glut of stuff, and I'm like, well, I can't really keep just making stuff for no reason. But, it'll get there. I had thought, I really do want to start a Patreon for this channel, and to maybe give some of my creative work away through that at different tiers, to give you the option of, if you'd like a handmade item, if you'd, like to say sponsor a subscription box for a month, to give you all these different options, and to give you options of, but the problem is I have too many options in my head. So yeah, so creating, for me, what I love to create is, I just love to learn. But as much as I love to create something new, there are sometimes things that I just love to revisit. Like, there's something about hand stitching I really love. Like, that's just something really relaxing to me, and especially when it comes to watching a bear come to life. There's something very magical about bringing a creation to life, be it a painting of a character, which is what I learned a little bit about how to do in Lifebook, or whether it's watching a bear come to life. There is something really magical about seeing something you've created from scratch coming to life. It doesn't matter if it's perfect. It doesn't matter if it's really good or if you hate it. There is still something magical in that process, and you learn so much in doing that. I'm very impatient. I don't have the patience to sit and draw repetitively hour after hour. I'm bipolar too, and I think that's why I jumble around through different crafts and different things. At the moment, I'm on an ear making kick, like Mickey and kitten ears, and I've just sat down the other day and made 4 pairs, because I only had enough wire to do 4 pairs of ears from scratch, like putting the ears onto the headbands and stuff, because I got sick of getting rusty ones for the kitten ears off eBay. It really peeved me. Like, I was like, I can't, even if I cover that in ribbon, I can't sell that to someone. That's not fair to sell someone something rusted. I paid 30 cents or something for them. I'm not too stressed about it in that sense, but I do think that in terms of when you're selling stuff to someone, you shouldn't be selling them rusty goods. That's not on. And too many of them started coming through that were rusty, and I thought, I'm going to try making it myself. It's harder than I thought. They're not as perfect as the manufactured ones, but they are handmade, so you can't expect handmade to be perfect or, you know, to be exactly symmetrical all the time and things. People do try. I try my best to make things symmetrical. It is not my strong suit. I am a little bit wonky, and everything I do seems to turn out a little bit wonky. So I'm going to stop babbling because, oh my goodness, it's been nearly 16 minutes. So if anyone's actually watched all of this, yay, thank you. If you craft, let me know what you craft and what you enjoy. If there is a craft you'd like to learn about and you would like me to talk about, or to say break down the things you need and show you what you need, and maybe put links to where to get them for a good price, or you'd like to know something about crafting, if you're stuck on a crafty project and would like some help, and I might be able to help you. I may not, but I certainly know enough people that I can ask. Just leave a comment below and let me know. Let me know what crafting stuff of mine you'd like to see, because I have some bears here I've made. I don't have as many as I used to. There's only a small amount, and that's just a storage thing. I just don't have the space to store everything. So it really is. There's people laughing outside, so if you can hear that in this video, I apologise. I can't do much about controlling other people's talking, especially when I'm trying to make videos, but what can you do? So I will talk to you all soon. I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about me and crafting. I'm sorry I waffle on so much at times. I just babble. I'm a babbling brook. If you liked this video, make sure to click the like button. It really does help me out. And if you're not one of my incredible, amazing, wonderful subscribers, please subscribe to my channel. It means the world to me. It really does. And it lets me know that you like what I'm doing enough to subscribe and want to see more. So I'll talk to you all soon, my angels and devils. I love you all. Bye!